Okay, hello again. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining our virtual public information meeting for state project number 171504. It's a traffic control signal replacement project in various locations in District 1. So District 1 is comprised of a number of towns in central Connecticut. The locations for this specific project where signals are going to be replaced are in Bristol, East Hartford, New Britain, and Vernon, just for your information. And I want to tell you for the first time, our project email address that you can reach us at either during this presentation or within the next 2 weeks if you want to share questions or comments about this project is here on this first page, but you'll be seeing this a couple other times through the presentation. So let's get started with some housekeeping. We could go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so the first thing we're going to cover is how to view captions and subtitles in Zoom. So if you are looking for closed captioning, or if you're looking for a different language, Zoom can translate in real time, but also in a later recording of this video by clicking on the CC button. You'll see kind of at the bottom of your Zoom screen, and then selecting the speaking language that you prefer from the drop-down list. So this is being recorded, and you would be able to watch this video later if you want, and the closed captioning will be available for that too. So next slide. Okay, to give a brief meeting overview, we have a few more housekeeping items that we're going to get to, and then we'll introduce the project team. And then we will go over the purpose of the meeting and give an overview of the project and talk about some of the coordination that's been going on and will continue to go on as the project progresses. We'll talk about the right-of-way, potential right-of-way impacts and the process that we go through to address right-of-way issues for the project. And then we'll talk about project cost and schedule, and then let everybody know what the next steps are that are coming up. And then after all that, we'll have a question and answer session. So I mentioned already the email address. Here it is again. It's dot.signalreplacements@ct.gov. So during the presentation or anytime within the next 2 weeks, you're welcome to contact us with that email address. If you would like to leave us a voicemail during this presentation, the phone number is 860-594-2020. We'll be checking the voicemail box intermittently, and so if anybody leaves us a message, we'll be able to grab it and then hopefully respond to whatever your question or comment is. There's also a Q&A kind of chat feature in Zoom that we'll talk about in a minute, and there's also a project webpage that you can access throughout the life cycle of the project that's listed here. And just so you know, the comment period is open for 2 weeks after this public meeting, so it should close June 10th. So to use the Zoom Q&A feature, just click that Q&A icon that you see circled in green there. That should be showing up on your around the edge of your screen somewhere, and the Q&A window will pop open. And just go ahead and type your question or comment in the box and hit enter. If you are an audio-only participant, you can dial *9 to raise and lower your hand, and we should be able to unmute you so you can let us know what your question or comment is. So this is the Title VI civil rights slide. It says, no person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We do have a voluntary survey that you could take after the end of this presentation. There's a link here and a QR code. There's also a link from our project website that we just shared. That should also be in your meeting invite to get to our project website. And then there's more civil rights information that's available on our Office of Equity Title VI page for the DOT. And again, this presentation will be posted to YouTube most likely tomorrow morning. And we'll include the closed captioning capabilities. So this slide is the Title VI slide that says that any person who believes she or he has been aggrieved by any unlawful discriminatory practice under Title VI may file a complaint with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. So for more information on ConnDOT's Civil Rights Program and the procedures to file a complaint, contact the ConnDOT Title VI coordinator at 860-594-2169, TRS 711, or email deborah.goss@ct.gov. And this next slide is the Title VI slide, but in Spanish. So I'm just going to leave it up for a minute or so, just so people have a chance to read it before we move on. Okay, thank you. Okay, now let me go ahead and introduce the project team for this district area signal improvement projects. Matthew Bloom is our division chief of traffic engineering at the Connecticut Department of Transportation. And Lisa Conroy is the principal engineer for the traffic signals unit. And my name is Kata Podgorski, and I'm the project manager for this District 1 project. Jack Carlson is here from our Division of Rights of Way. And Queasy Brown is a consultant engineer, the project manager for the consultant side, working on this project. And Thomas Daly is a project engineer working with Queasy. And Michael Dion is from BL, and he's the consultant liaison for this project for the department. So to give a high-level overview of the purpose of this meeting, we first want to kind of introduce you to this type of project. It's a what we call a district various signal replacement project. It's part of an ongoing program to maintain our signals in a state of good repair in Connecticut. And then we'll provide an overview of this particular project and its status and its particular locations. And then we want to obtain any input from the public or respond to questions. So let me quickly introduce you all to what we call district various projects at the Department of Transportation. The state owns and maintains almost 2,800 traffic signals throughout the state, and the goal is to try to keep the signals and the components in good working order so that they are reliable and they are operate safely. Each signal can be categorized as having a state of good repair, good, fair, or poor, based on the condition of a number of its components. So you can see how our signals are rating at the moment. And so the state of good repair is a factor that we use to identify specific locations for traffic signals that need improvements. And then we can even very specifically identify what types of improvements are needed to improve the state of good repair for each individual signal. So that's kind of the purpose of these projects, is to improve the state of good repair for all of our signals. And the factors that we consider are the age of the equipment and the structure rating. So all of our structures have been inspected, and they're done so on an ongoing basis. And by structure, I mean either the mast arms or the span poles that actually support the signal heads. So we want to make sure that they don't get some rusty or loose fittings, or sometimes they get struck by cars. So we want to make sure that they're going to be safe when they're out there supporting the equipment that we need. And then we also look at the maintenance calls from our district maintenance staff, and we take local input from folks in the towns, whether it's town engineers or lead traffic authorities. We take a look at the existing components to see how old and outdated they are, whether the pedestrian treatments are adequate or outdated. And we also look at the existing hardware and detection systems because technology changes rapidly. So this can very quickly get outdated. So those really help us identify what improvements are appropriate and needed for these different locations. So that's how the locations are selected, which are put into these projects. And now I'm going to turn it over to Queasy to talk a little bit more about the project and the types of improvements you're going to be seeing.
Well, thanks, Kate, and good evening, everyone. So for this particular project, we're looking at 15 intersections. Of the 15, 8 are going to be full replacement improvements, and 7 are going to be partial upgrades. Of the 15 intersections, there's 1 in Bristol, 1 in New Britain, 8 in the town of Vernon, and 5 in East Hartford. And these intersections are also listed on the left side of the slide on the screen, as you can see. So why are we doing this? I think Kata already alluded to this. The purpose and need is to replace aging signal infrastructure with new signal equipment to achieve a state of good repair. And the improvements that we are looking at for this project is new signal equipment at the various intersections, pedestrian accommodation improvements, including new curbs, curb ramps and sidewalks, flashing left turn yellow arrows, new vehicle detection at the various intersections, as well as fiber optic communications between the traffic signals, improved access to transit stops, that's very important as well, and then providing illumination at crosswalks and transit stops within the project limits. So specifically for the traffic signal equipment, we'll be installing new mast arms, new signal heads, new vehicular detection, as in video cameras and radar detectors. Tom Daly will talk a little bit more about that in the upcoming slides. New controllers, emergency preemption equipment, as well as communication equipment. With regard to pedestrian accommodations, as I've already alluded to, we'll be focused on new crosswalks and ADA compliant ramps at the various intersections, new sidewalks connecting ramps and bus stops, pedestrian signals with APS push buttons, as well as improved pedestrian phasing with blackout signs. And the blackout signs you can see on the top right corner of the screen, where you have a no turn on red, as well as turning vehicles due to pedestrians to provide enhanced safety for pedestrians as they cross at a particular crosswalk. With that, I will hand over to Tom Daly to talk a little bit more about vehicle detection and communications for this project. Tom.
Thanks, Quincy. Yeah, so as part of the vehicle detection for this project, it will include 360-degree bell cameras, which are used for stop bar detection for all approaches to detect the presence of vehicles waiting at the stop bar as a trigger to switch cycle from red to green. In addition to those, radar detectors will be added for advanced detection of approaching vehicles. The radar detectors, they detect vehicles several hundred feet in advance of the intersection and extend the signal green time to allow approaching vehicles time to clear the intersection. Next slide. And then as far as fiber optic communications, in order to help improve the corridor's performance and mobility, these fiber optic communications will be installed to replace existing copper wire systems along US Route 5 in East Hartford and along Route 83 in Vernon. The fiber optic cable will run the entire length of those corridors and connect to each of the traffic signals, allowing for communications and coordination between intersections. And a master signal controller will include a wireless cellular system that communicates back to the DOT Operations Center. So by introducing these more reliable communication systems, it'll help improve the DOT's ability to respond to operational issues and react to traffic incidents more efficiently. With that, I'll turn it back to Quasi.
Thanks, Tom. So I'm going to delve into each of these 15 intersections some more. And so we're going to start in the town of East Hartford. The first intersection on your screen is intersection number 42-202. This is US Route 5 at US Route 44, Connecticut Boulevard, as well as Lucas Court intersection. As you can see from the aerial and the existing conditions right now, it's a four-legged intersection. It's currently signalized, obviously, and there's crosswalks on each of the four legs of the intersection. What we are proposing, we are designing for this intersection is to install new mast arms, as you can see in the blue, basically. For each approach. So for instance, you have this mast arm here in the northeast corner servicing northbound traffic flow. You have another mast arm here, which is serving southbound flow on US Route 5, in addition to the Locust Court approach. And then finally, you have another mast arm in this corner here that is servicing Connecticut Boulevard. You can also see that new crosswalks are being proposed on each leg, as you can see from the red stripes on the graphic. In addition to that, we're going to have new pedestrian equipment as well as new vehicular detection as well to make the intersection safer and more efficient. The next intersection, again, is in East Hartford. This is intersection number 42-203. This is US Route 5 and Burnside Avenue. That's US Route 5 and that's Burnside Avenue. Again, this intersection has crosswalks on all three legs. Those crosswalks are going to be implemented for this project as well with new and improved ADA compliant ramps at this intersection. In addition, new mast arms are proposed, as you can see in blue, for each of the three approaches to the intersection. Again, there's going to be improved vehicular detection as well and pedestrian signal equipment to make it safer for pedestrians at this location. The next intersection, again, East Hartford, 42-213, which is US 5 at Governor Street and Fells Place. This, again, is also a four-legged intersection. As you can see, there's currently crosswalks on all four legs and mast arms as well. And these mast arms are going to be upgraded and new mast arms being installed, as you can see from the blue at each of the four corners. Again, crosswalks are going to be implemented as well with new sidewalk ramps and vehicular improvements as well. Something that we will have to work with the town is currently there are some pavers on Phelps Road, and we'll be coordinating with the town as to whether that is going to be maintained or is just going to be striping for the Phelps Place crosswalk. The next intersection, again, in East Hartford is US Route 5 at Alumni Park Driveway, as well as Bissell Street. Bissell Street is one way leaving the intersection, and that is the park entrance, as you can see. Currently, there's one crosswalk across the southern leg of US 5. And so what we are proposing as part of this improvement is to have that crosswalk. There are some constraints on the north leg of the intersection with a number of vaults that uh, does not allow us to introduce another crosswalk on the north leg of the intersection. We will be providing a crosswalk across Bissell Street as well. And as you can see in blue, new mast arms, one mast arm on the southwest corner to accommodate southbound vehicular flow, and then one mast arm to service northbound traffic flow as well as the park entrance traffic. Something that I wanted to point out is we are proposing new pedestrian equipment um, at the park entrance. As you can see, what that means is there will be some impacts, some minimal impacts to the parcel, the park. And it is basically just to be able to replace some panels and also to install the pedestals, the pedestrian signal pedestals, as I alluded to. Again, the impacts are minimal. But given that it's a park, federal requirements mandate that we go through what we call a Section 4F de minimis impact documentation. And basically, it's a way of just saying that the impacts are minimal. This is something that Connecticut DOT will be working on and coordinating with the town on this. The next intersection, again, in East Hartford, is US 5 at Wells Avenue and Chapman Street. As you can see, this is an sort of an offset intersection here. And currently, there's crosswalks on all 4 legs. That is going to be improved. It's going to be restriped. There's going to be new ADA ramps as well with pedestrian signal equipment and the installation of new mast arms, again, as you can see in blue. There's going to be 2 mast arms. One on this northeast corner here would service the Chapman Street approach as well as northbound traffic, and then one located on this side here on the southwest corner would accommodate southbound traffic as well as the side street. That's the westbound approach as well. This parcel here is, I believe, is the Russell Caribbean Restaurant. One of the things that we got to look at is the access to this parking lot, because currently it's not signalized, and we are working on and coordinating with DOT as to make this how best to make this access safer for motorists coming in and out of this driveway or this parking lot. Moving on to Vernon. Vernon has 8 locations, and of that 8 locations, 2 of them are full replacements and 6 of them are partial upgrades. So this first intersection is 146-225. This is Route 83. That's Route 83 right there. And you have I-84, and then right there is the I-84 HOV ramps. Currently, there is 1 crosswalk along the western side of the intersection. And what is being proposed for this project is to, again, maintain that crosswalk, restripe it, but also provide an additional crosswalk on the north leg of Route 83 as well. We are not proposing a crosswalk on the south leg because of visibility issues with vehicles turning right from the HOV, not being able to adequately see pedestrians. So we opted not to provide a crosswalk on the southern leg of the intersection. We providing a new mast arm right sort of in the middle of the intersection to service all approaches, as you can see. In addition, because you have the I-84 bridge, we are providing additional pedestrian equipment for visibility. And so we are proposing a pedestal with a signal head for this southbound approach, and additionally another pedestal here for the northbound approach, and a pedestal for the HOV lane as well. Next intersection is again in Vernon, 146-233, Route 31 at I-84 eastbound ramps. This is also a full replacement intersection. There's currently no crosswalks at this location, and what is being proposed is a crosswalk across the I-84 exit ramp, another crosswalk across the southern leg, and another crosswalk across the on-ramp to I-84. And as you can see, new mast arms on all the approaches with new pedestrian equipment as well. And obviously improved vehicular detection as well for this location. The next intersection, again, Vernon Route 83 at Green Circle Road and driveway to the shopping plaza. This is a partial upgrade location. And so with the partial upgrades, we tend to be focusing more on the pedestrian equipment as well as the detection at these locations. We are not changing the current span posts into mast arms or anything like that. So it's basically focused on pedestrian improvements as well as the detection and communications, the fiber communications through this intersection. And so as you can see, we're focusing our efforts on the pedestrian equipment and crosswalks. There's currently a crosswalk across the north leg of Route 83. That crosswalk is going to be maintained and restriped. Obviously, we'll be looking to improve the ramps at each end of the crosswalk. And additionally, we also provide another crosswalk across Green Circle Road. We are not proposing a crosswalk across the shopping center driveway or across the south leg of Route 83, primarily because there are a number of constraints in the north west corner as well as the southwest corners of this intersection. There's a guide rail, and the grading is it is a steep drop on each of these at each of these corners, and so we've elected not to have a crosswalk or any ramp improvements at these two corners of the intersection. Next intersection is Route 83 at Dobson Road. Again, this is a partial upgrade. There's currently a cemetery at this corner here. This is the southeast corner of the intersection. And so with that, we looking to avoid any impacts to the cemetery. And so we are maintaining an existing crosswalk across the north leg. As we refined our design, we may shift this crosswalk a little bit further, not to even have some more distance or separation from the cemetery. And obviously, we would have a new pedestrian upgrades and new vehicular improvements, detection improvements at this location. Next one is also a partial upgrade. This again is in Vernon Route 83 at Pitkin Street and the Shopping Center Drive. This intersection currently has a crosswalk across the north leg and a crosswalk across the east leg. And what we are proposing is to have new crosswalks across each of the legs of the intersection. Again, given that it's a partial upgrade, we are focusing on the pedestrian equipment and the detection. And so the main structures like the span posts are going to remain, but we'll have upgrades to ramps as well as the pedestrian signal equipment and detection at this location. Next intersection, Route 83 at Kelly Road. As you can see, it's a very wide intersection. It's a partial upgrade location. There are no crosswalks at this location currently. And so we are proposing, as you can see from the graphic, crosswalks on each of the four legs with pedestrian signal upgrades and improved detection and improved ADA compliant ramps for this location. Still in Vernon, Route 83 at 84 eastbound off-ramp. This is intersection number 146-229. This also is a partial upgrade location. Currently, as you can see, there are no crosswalks at this location. We are proposing and currently designing a crosswalk across this northern leg here. What that will do is we're going to cut through the median, and we would have to push the stop off back a little bit to accommodate the crosswalk. We are also looking to install a crosswalk across the ramp. There's an option, a possibility to connect. There's an existing sidewalk. This is the car wash in this area here that we could potentially connect to. Something that we are looking at. There's a utility pole that would be impacted, and so it may have to be relocated. So as we go through our utility coordination and we have utility meetings, it's something that we want to iron out with the utility company and then decide whether the course of action in terms of whether we have an extension of the sidewalk to meet with currently what's out there. Still in Vernon, this is 84 eastbound off-ramp Route 83, the North Junction, intersection number 146-235. As you can see, this is the off-ramp, and this is Route 83. We looked at this intersection a little bit in detail, and our recommendation is really not to provide any crosswalk at this location just because of the skew of the off-ramp and some of the side constraints. We didn't feel it was safe to have a crosswalk at this location. So the focus for this partial upgrade at this location would mainly be vehicular detection and communications upgrades at this location. Which brings me to the single intersection in New Britain. This is intersection number 88-201. Route 174 at East Main Street. As you can see, it's East Main Street, and this is Newington Road, and that takes you to Newington. This is also a partial upgrade location. The pedestrian equipment was recently upgraded by the Connecticut DOT, and so the improvement really at this location will be focusing on replacing an existing mast ramp, as you can see in blue, which was not too long ago hit and has a dent in it, and it's not structurally sound. So the focus for this partial upgrade for this location would be to replace that mast arm. And then last but not least, this is in Bristol, intersection 17-256, Route 72 at Blakesley Street, Down Street, and Memorial Boulevard. As you can see, this is a challenging intersection with just the layout and the multiple legs. This is a full replacement. And so what is being proposed, obviously, is new mast arms to accommodate all the legs, as you can see. So there's a mast arm here to accommodate the Riverside Avenue approach, another mast arm in this northeast corner to accommodate Blakesley, as well as Memorial Boulevard with 72 approach. That's the westbound approach as well. New crosswalks on all the legs with pedestrian signal upgrades and ADA compliant ramps, new vehicular detection as well, and new communications as well for this location. Again, this is a full replacement intersection. So gone through all 15 intersections. In terms of project coordination, we are having outreach with the various towns. Town notification letters were sent in October of 2024. There was a field meeting held with the city of Bristol in April of 2025. And the design coordination outreach was initiated in May of 2025 and is obviously ongoing. We are holding this virtual public info meeting tonight. We anticipate utility coordination meetings, some virtual and some field meetings, to be able to advance our design. We, as much as possible, try not to have impacts when we are designing these kind of projects. But for this particular project, we anticipate that we are going to require some traffic easements and there are going to be some impacts. That process is ongoing and is being refined, and would require that the project goes through the Connecticut DOT rights-of-way process. So with that, I want to hand over to Jack Carlson, who will be able to talk a little bit more from the Office of Rights of Way, will be able to talk a little bit more about what will be required to go through the rights of way process. Jack.
Thank you, Kwesi. My name is Jack Carlson. I'm an assistant project coordinator with the Department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights needed for transportation projects. As mentioned in the presentation, this project will require the acquisition of property rights. So I'd like to give a brief overview of our acquisition process. Before I begin, as mentioned, the specific right-of-way impacts are still being finalized and may change as the project design progresses. Additionally, any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Section 13A 73 and 13A 98E, as well as the Federal Uniform Act. Next slide, please. The right-of-way acquisition process begins once the design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts have been determined. At this point, each affected property owner will receive from our office a formal letter of intent to acquire, along with a property map which will depict the specific property rights being acquired. Next, our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights, which will be used to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a rights-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner to explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain the department's offer. The property owner will then have a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the department's offer and enter negotiations. When agreement is reached, the department will then prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property maps on the town land records. However, if an agreement is not able to be reached, in order to keep the project on schedule, the department will acquire the necessary property rights through its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state will file a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the department's initial offer. The affected property owner would then have 6 months from the date on that notice of condemnation to file an appeal if they felt the department's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the property owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited into the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner at any time. It's important to note that the department only acquires property rights that are needed for the project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them after the presentation. And with that, I'll give it back to you, Kwesi. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Just a little bit more information on the project. In terms of project cost, this project is state funded 100%, and there's currently a budget of 12.3 million. As we go through our design, this number may be revised depending on how the design ends up, but currently there's a budget of 12.3 million. In terms of design schedule, we've gone through preliminary engineering. Preliminary design is under review, and the next steps would be we'll go through semi-final design, which is slated for November of 2025, with final design plans being submitted in May of 2026. The hope is to be able to advertise this project in July of 2026 with a construction start date of spring of 2027. So in terms of next steps, obviously, we are looking to advance the design. It would be great if we could get feedback from the public. That's why we're here. We continue to refine our design, identify and refine the right-of-way needs and process, and also continue to meet with the utility companies to refine our design as well. And so with that, that concludes our presentation. As you've been informed previously by Cater, there's a 2-week comment period, this comment period is open through June 10, 2025. And so we encourage as many as possible to reach out with any comments. With that, thank you, and we'll be able to available to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Hey, Kwesi, there are 3 questions / comments in the Q&A portion brought to our attention by East Hartford. The first comment would be for the intersection of Main Street at Bissell Street and Alumni Park. I think it's slide 21. Mr. Wilson just wanted to bring to our attention that the town of East Hartford is closing Bissell Street to vehicular traffic starting July 2025.
Okay. That's noted.
And the next question would be on the
Wait,
intersection.
hold on. Before we jump on, I just want to say that that would be great to coordinate further. I think we can follow up over email, Doug, and we can take a look at, I don't know if you're planning some changes to some of the pavement markings, but we can make sure that that's accurately reflected in our plan. And then there's fewer pedestals and push buttons that we would need on that east leg. So that would be a good thing to follow up discussions with and coordinate. But that sounds good. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Nope, that's fine. And then the next one, Kwesi, would be at the Bissell Street Alumni Park Drive and also in East Hartford. Mr. Wilson's wondering if there's any thought to improving the alignment of Wells Street at the intersection.
Yeah, 042 215.
Next slide. If you want to.
Oh, next slide. This one here? Okay. Well, what we have talked about is to find out how best we can make this access safer. I would probably defer to the DOT in terms of actually realigning this because there's a parking lot right here. So I think that the conversations so far have been maybe we close this access here to the parking lot to make it safer. But we haven't had any conversations about realigning Wells Avenue.
Yeah, I think the kind of major road reconstruction is a little bit beyond the scope of this project, as we were trying to emphasize these projects are mostly equipment, state of good repair type projects. So although we do try to address issues where we can with pedestrian accommodations, and if there's an opportunity to change a driveway operation, we would like to work with the town and the property owner to see if we can coordinate a change to how that driveway operates to make it safer. But we wouldn't really be looking at major right-of-way takings and major realignments. Our schedule and our scope just don't allow for those major changes.
I think that flowed right into his third comment, which would be that he agreed that there was an unsafe condition for the driveways to and from the Russell Restaurant, which is right on that corner we're talking about.
Yep.
Yep, we can follow up about
right.
that.
And what we've talked about is probably curbing that area. So drivers are forced to use Wells Avenue to go to that parking lot versus cutting through right now the way it is.
And, that is it for questions and comments. Doug left that he is the town engineer for the town in the comments, and we will coordinate with him as we go forward. I have been monitoring the inbox for the telephone, and there are no calls or voicemail messages. I'll ask if there are any emails in the email inbox that we can respond to.
There are currently no emails in the inbox.
Thank you, Dan. Actually, Mr. Wilson has posted another question, asking, is the project coordinating with the Greater Hartford Mobility Study for the roundabout study of the area?
So here I am again. We have just recently started coordinating with the highway design group that is taking a look at that project. And from what we understand at the moment, it's still in its early stages of conceptual evaluation to see if they can come up with a concept to actually progress forward to design with. So we're gonna kind of keep in contact with them as they progress to make sure that our projects don't conflict too much. But we are aware of it and we will be coordinating as we move forward. But yeah, if you have more background information on that study, we can discuss that as well to see that we're aware of how that came about and how the town is feeling about it.
I think that is it I don't see any other additional questions. Mr. Wilson has just stated that he hasn't seen anything from the study yet, so we'll be coordinating all together on that. If there are no other voicemails or emails, no additional comments or questions.
This concludes the public information meeting. Please submit any comments by the date June 10th, 2025 by phone or by email. Thank you.